I don't know if you know this, but I'm actually insane. Like, I'm just so crazy. So I want to rank every single NPC in the game. So let's just go ahead and get started. So right off the bat, we have Mario in the front. He's a little crazy, don't get me wrong. We exterminated a whacker who didn't do anything to us. We hit him 8 times or however many times it was in Kill Hall Key to make sure that he was extinct. But then he wasn't extinct, so we went 100 floors down to make sure that we actually killed this man. Absolutely crazy. Mario is absolutely diabolical. Moveset wise, obviously he's the best in the game. Mario is obviously going in the S tier. I could put him in A because he's a little wild, but the fact that they give you the option to be wild is what's really cool. Peach. Oh, my mic is in the way. What? If AI were to actually become sentient, would you treat them as a life form? I certainly cared for tech, but if something like tech existed in real life, would I shut them down? I don't know. Comment below your thoughts. But Peach had some of the funnest side quests. Her side quests I feel like were funner than Bowser's actually. So I'm gonna put her in the F tier too. Miss Mouse. So you know Miss Mouse kind of thick. I don't know. I really loved her flirtatious dialogue, and when she was introduced, she is one of the weakest party members in the game. I think I use her less than Flurry, which is really saying something. Honestly, I'm gonna put her in the B. This is a Toad girl from the Excess Express, the one that lost the shell earrings. She was pretty to look at, I guess, but otherwise she wasn't really that interesting. She gives you a star piece for returning the shell earrings. That's pretty fire in itself. I'm gonna put her up there with Miss Mouse, because Miss Mouse gave us a badge. Ghost T had such a cool impact on me. The fact that you could read his diary and get killed is crazy. Other than the bomb for the lucky lottery, I think that that's the only NPC that can actually kill a Mario. For that in itself, he is definitely top tier. He was trying to raise in heaven or whatever, and then he was just like, nah, I'm chilling. I think I really like it here. So I'm gonna give him an S. If you can kill Mario as an NPC, you deserve some recognition, because that is a strong man. He killed an entire demon, yet he's gonna die to a ghost. Come on now. Are they hefty or am I making that up? The fat toad that stole the pot of stew and then left a whole trail from the dining car all the way to his room like a dummy. He couldn't even exit through the door anymore. So now he's just stuck on the Excess Express forever. That's pretty crazy, but the fact that I remember that in full detail, I think stands out to me. He was very adaptive throughout the chapter. I enjoyed his dialogue a little more than I did the Toad Waitress just because he was funny. He was kind of like comedic relief, but I'm gonna give him an A. But is he better than Miss Mouse? You know what? I'm gonna give him a B. I'm gonna give him a B. Rat Homie. I don't think we ever learned his name. I find him really interesting because he was a key part in the chapter. Afterwards, he even has that Trouble Center request where you can get unlimited hot sauce, and you need that to be able to 100% the game. I'll put him in A. Yoshi. It's interesting how there's just like a photo of a generic Yoshi up here. Does it even need to be said? I love his dialogue, and he is useful in battle. Stampede is actually really powerful. So I'm gonna put Yoshi in the S tier. Zip Toad, are we talking about the dupless version or are we talking about the real version? The real version of Zip Toad, I mean, he sent us a message, sure. So plot twist of the year, I mean, sure, that goes to him. I feel like I was really impacted by that and I wasn't expecting it to be him. And then for him to turn out to be dupless in the end was actually pretty crazy. So I'm going to put him in the A category. Gold Bob, you see him in chapter 3 of the Glitz Pit, and he's talking about trying to own the arena or trying to get like shortcuts into the business. Then you see him again in chapter 6. So he's definitely the privileged guy of the series. I mean, he's literally made out of gold. At this point, I feel like they're my family. Him, Sylvia, and then their son, which I forgot his name right now. His name eludes me, but they were really important. So I feel connected to them. So I'm going to give him an A. Sylvia, I mean, she was just as cool as her husband, you know? And because of that, I think that she deserves the same ranking as Gold Bob. Otherwise, that would be sexist. Like, why would I rank her down? Her son is so cute. This privileged little boy, all he wanted was an autograph from the man that he looked up to. To me, that was just so heartwarming. I'm going to give him an S because that was just such a cute quest line. Let me tell you why I don't like her. Because in chapter 3, she was like, oh, sorry, you burly man, but only the champion is for me. I'm like, girl, do you see what you're working with? Like, do you see who I am? I'm the world famous Mario, but you don't know who I am though. And then we had a conversation on the train. The fact that you could have a little conversation with her, it kind of made her feel like a little more human. Oh, I gotta give her an A, even though I don't like her like that. But because she was simple enough for Rock Hawk, I'm gonna knock her down one. So we're gonna put her in the B category. Because girl, Tech is a real one. When I first played this and Tech died, I cried. He was the homie from the beginning all the way to the end. He was ready to give it all away for Peach. He's the realest dude in the whole game, so I'm gonna give him an S. Pennington has some of the funniest dialogue in the whole series, I feel like. And towards the end was like, Luigi? That's his name? Like, he was so shook about that. And he's so funny. He's so funny. I feel like Pennington deserves an S. Honestly, he does. It's interesting that Smorg is up here. Once again, a creature that didn't do anything to us. I mean, I guess our train had to go by, but we didn't have to murder them, did we? I mean, they were getting their payback by hijacking the train. But let's be real, we're the ones that disturbed them first. And I don't think that their design is very unique either. Sure, the boss battle was cool, and I think that the Smorg have some of the hardest super guards. I could not get the timing of the arm smashing down. I think that's pretty fair. So because of that, I'm gonna give them a B. I don't think they deserve to be in the C tier. Oh. There are 2 reasons I don't like this man. 1 is he never stays in one place at one time. Somebody's looking for him and you always have to chase him. 2, you have to do that 2 times in the game. I am so tired of this man making me go back and forth. Anyways, his design is cute. I think this is the first character that's going in the C tier. But his animation to make us go through with the cannon and everything, that was really, really cool. I'm gonna put him in B. His cutscene made him go in B. But if that cutscene wasn't there, he probably would have been in C tier or maybe even in D because of that running back and forth. I don't remember Homeboy's name, but I know that he is the guy that was trying to hide the cannon from us in the first place. And honestly, I liked his dialogue more than General White. Before we go on, I think it's fair to say that I didn't acknowledge that General White had that really sad, reflective dialogue in Petalburg when he talked about what is the meaning of life and all that, That was still really impactful, I feel there. And he was the only character that actually did have that dialogue. But that doesn't want to make me move him up because he still had me running back and forth. And I'm salty about that. So I'm going to still keep him a B tier. But I do acknowledge that that dialogue was very remarkable. Back to Green Babam, homie. There was nothing really that remarkable about him. And I think that you didn't actually know him for that long of a period in the game. So I think I'm going to put him in the C tier. This is just one of those bombs that was in Far Outpost. They're all like, skablooey, skablam. There's nothing really that crazy to it about me. And because of that, I'm going to put them in C. I guess they're average. You know what? I'm going to put them in D because if I put Green Homeboy in C, I don't think that they're the same level as him. So I'm going to put them in D. I thought that the Gloomtail battle was very, very easy. I haven't played the game in years, but for me to come back to that and just be so underwhelmed by the battle, I didn't even put it on my channel. But I'm going to put them in the B tier. I mean, their design is fire. I love black and red, so I love that their little ear things on the top are red. So that's really cute. Shadow Queen. Was I the only one that had a super huge crush on the Shadow Queen when I was a kid? When Peach got snatched, I was like, no, Peach. And then I saw Shadow Queen come out and I was like, ooh. Excuse me, ma'am. Of course, one of the hardest fights in the game, and her attacks are also really hard to super guard. And she has so many animations, different animations for her attacks. And because of that, I think that she's a really good character. I'm gonna give her an S. Pretty Privilege probably carried her through that a little bit, but it's fine. It's fine. Oh, we have a lot to go. We have a lot to go, y'all. Bone Tail. All they say is aroo, and then they attack. Their icy breath isn't that hard to super guard, so it's not really that bad for me. I don't know how to super guard the stomp down, so I'm not gonna lie on that. The battle for me, at least all these years later, was a little underwhelming for me. I was able to defeat Bonetail on the first try. I was dying to the poison puffs, honestly, because I didn't know how to super guard that. But I knew how to super guard the icy breath. So yeah, it didn't really do anything for me. I'm going to put them in C. And also because the return postage or whatever, it's not even worth it. Even if you run a pre-hooked tail pit, there's not that many enemies that attack directly anyway. So I feel like the majority of the enemies aren't even going to be affected by that return postage badge. I think her name is Belle. I haven't played Paper Mario 64, so I'm not even going to front on that. But I do think that it's really cool that she made an appearance in her little fan animation. I think that is just really, really cute. And I love her design. Absolutely love her design. For the 64 people, I think that they would probably rank her a lot higher, but I'm not as familiar with her. And the fact that she's only available in post-game, it didn't impact me as much as if I played the 64 game. However, the fact that she is the only partner to come back post-game, I think is really cool. And because of that, I have to give her an A. Her butler, is his name Bootler? I think that's what it's called. I have nothing really remarkable to say about him. His design is cool though, and I think that he should get the same ranking as Val because I'm assuming he was also on Paper Mario 64, and if that's the case, he needs to be ranked with her, so I'm gonna give him an A. We get a lot of dialogue from Grotus. He had a diabolical plan to revive a 1,000-year-old demon with the soul of Peach. That is absolutely insane to me. And when I found out his plan, I was shook. Here's the issue I have with Grotus. His boss fight was so easy. Even if you did struggle with defeating Grotus, like I'm not trying to get at anybody who struggled defeating him. Him in comparison to the other bosses are just washed up. So because of that, I'm gonna put Grotus in the B tier because his battle was kind of lackluster. This is Luigi's homeboy. I don't remember his name, I'm sorry, but this was Luigi's party member that got fried to a crisp because Luigi tripped and then like got him deep fried or whatever. He's the second blooper in the series actually. His dialogue was absolutely funny concerning Luigi. I don't think that I like him more than any of the other people I put in the A tier, so I'm gonna put him in B. This bomb is another one of Luigi's party members, and to be honest, I don't think I remember them saying anything too crazy. I'm pretty sure that they don't like Luigi, to be honest, but so the general idea is that most of the party members just want to get revenge on Luigi for some reason. And I mean, I don't actually remember this bomb's reason, but the fact that I don't remember it, I think is a testament to say that they weren't as interesting as the rest. Don't quote me on that, but because of that, I'm going to put them in the C tier. Now, you can be mad about that, but I mean, it is what it is. Like, I'm going to put them in the C tier. This is Torque. I'm pretty sure I remember Torque because they were so upset about Luigi. They were like, look, the only reason I'm here is because I'm going to get back at them. I think that they had the same effect on me that Blooper Homie had on me, and so I'm going to put him in B. I remember the conversation with her explicitly because to me, I think that that was so funny. I'm sure that this was the party member that Luigi had where they were doing the play and then she was like, yeah, Luigi is grass. Grass on the side of the road. And I was so weak at that. I was like, oh my God, there's no way that Luigi got casted as grass. And because of that, I'm going to bump her up to the A tier because girl, she was ruthless. I'm pretty sure that this guy's name is Screamy, but I don't remember his reasonings for traveling with Luigi. If I remember correctly, I think that he kind of just felt neutral about everything. We don't even know like what design that he's even derived from. So because of the mysteriousness there and me not really being impacted by that, I'm going to put him in C beside Bomb Homie. Lord Crump. It is so interesting how often we see Lord Crump in the game because him being the underling of Grotus and one of the weakest underlings at that, incompetent as Grotus would call him. He's a chapter 2 boss. And then it doesn't stop there. He raids chapter 5 to try to get back at you. And then he comes back again in chapter 7 to be the final boss. So he has like 4 appearances and when you're just throwing hands with him. Let's not forget that he tried to kill everybody in chapter 2 with that bomb. The fact that he was redeemed at the end with Grotus, I feel like is cool. Infiltrating the boat on Keelhaul Key was actually iconic of him. So I'm going to put him in the A tier. How are you going to rank higher than Grotus? That's absolutely insane. Oh my God. We are running out of space, y'all. Let me zoom out again. Bam. Beldum. I don't like her stanky butt. I do not like her. And you know that she's stinking because I see her teeth and she look nasty. But I'm not going to lie. I mean, her dialogue is actually pretty fire. Like, you understand that she is just really ratchet. And you understand that she's just not a good sport. I know that at the end of the game, she like kind of becomes redeemed and Vivian's relationship with Beldum is a lot better. But I still don't like her like that. All of her battles were insanely easy, and she's always the person with the weakest health on the team. So she's really nothing to write home about. I think she deserves a B. Marilyn, I mean, she's a plus size queen, so I mean, that's good. But all she says is guh, guh, huh, huh. I never got an idea of her personality at all. And to be honest, I mean, she's not even that strong in battle. I'm gonna feel that strongly about her, is all I'm saying. I'm gonna put her in C. I actually really like Cammy Koopa. I really enjoy her dialogue. As a sidekick for Bowser, I feel like she is the perfect sidekick. She is so funny. When she was like, hey Bowser, do you like fried eggs? And Bowser's like, yeah, I love fried eggs. Or he could be like, no, you old hag. Why the heck are you asking? You know, like she's on vacation whenever she goes. And in chapter 3, she's chilling in Glitzville. Like she's like, oh my God, I had so much fun. And I mean, her coat, you know, her coat kind of swaggy. Like she looked kind of cute, you know what I'm saying? Like, and she got one tooth out. So you know that tooth is hanging on. I really like her dialogue wise, so I'm gonna put her in the A category. I claim him as a black man. I claim 2 black men in this series. I claim Professor Frankly and I claim Bobbery. Because Professor Frankly is black, I mean, like, I'm already feeling him a little more. He'll always have something different to say in every chapter too. I mean, he gives you tutorials, he gives you like the Power Smash badge. Professor Frankly is pretty tight, so I'm gonna put him in the S category. While I think that Flavio is very like well written, he annoys me so bad. But I have to give him props for negotiating our way into using Cortez's ship, where he saves everybody. There was no way for us to leave the island. There was no bargaining chip that we had. Because of that, I put him in B. I'm actually disappointed in the dialogue that I feel like we got from Toadsworth, because every time you would talk to him during the chapters, it's not like he would say anything unique. He would just be like, yeah, gotta find the princess, and his dialogue will be slightly different. And even post-game, like, it's not like he's there. Like, when you leave for Princess Peach in the end, does he even leave on the boat? I can't remember the cutscene, but I don't even know if he leaves. I feel like that's a character that's so important that I feel like we should have gotten more. But I'm gonna put him in C category. Always getting beat up by Mario, always just struggling the entire game. I love Bowser's appearance in this. And I think that he was written very well and that he was a jokey character. You know, he wasn't the character that was like super serious, and he never is. He was just overall written very well. In battles, I mean, like, you know, he was whatever. But he was so cool. He was really cool. I'm gonna put him in the S category. My boy Bowser. I was in somebody's stream and I saw somebody make a comment and they were like, so that is like a genie in a lamp situation. Like she stays in the box and then she just comes out like when you open the box. And I was thinking, oh my God. So she's just trapped in those huge boxes, giving out items, and that's it. There's nothing really remarkable about her. Like she's kind of like Marilyn with the gahaha. Like you don't really get much from her other than the tutorials and her wishing you good luck. She was sad when Mario left and she wasn't going to see Mario anymore. That's her problem. That ain't mine. So she going in the C category. Boop. Dialogue wise, I feel like you always have that old woman in the ghetto that doesn't take nothing from nobody. I feel like that was Zesty. Because, you know, Roleport is the depths of the ghetto. And then she could cook. You know that she's one of them grandmas that live in the streets and don't care. That is so integral in the game, especially if you're a person that uses a lot of items. I'm going to put her in the S category. I definitely believe that that's what she deserves. I may be biased on that. Because, you know, like, I lived in the ghetto. But, like, for me, I really like Zesty. Merchant Homie, his Ultra Shroom was only 120 coins. And if you go underneath Roadport, it's 200 coins. So he actually sells his stuff for a discount. And then he gives you the Wario emblem as an item. I love the Wario emblem. Because I love to match it with the Luigi one and then be Waluigi. I love that so much. I think that he deserves to be in the B tier because of his usability in the game. And I mean, if you're a fan of Hammerman or Jumpman, I personally don't use that, but if you're a fan of that, like, I can see it, you know? So this toad, I guess, pretty much just encompasses all of the shop toads that look like him. The shopkeepers don't really say anything that interesting to you, I feel like. It's cool that his brother went off to go and start a new shop in Kyohaki. I think that that was really cool. These group of shopkeepers, there's also the Petalburg one, and I want to say there's like, is there another one, or is that the rest of them? I'm going to put him in the C because he had a brother that, like, you know, like I said, with the Kyohaki and started his own store, and that was really cool to watch, but otherwise it don't impact me very much. Gus, absolutely funny that he blocked the entrance to the east side and was like, hey, you got to pay it 10 coins. There's also the guy in the back of the Trouble Center, and then there's the guy that owns the house on the east side, too. The reason why I'm not very inclined to like these guys is their dialogue stays the same. So you know how with a lot of NPCs in the game, you can go between chapter and chapter and then they'll have something different to say to you. These guys never have something different to say. So Gus, after you defeat him, the only thing he says after every single chapter is like, what do he say? You good guys are always think you're the best and you just want to beat up people, huh? Like he says something like that. His dialogue never changes throughout the entire game. He only says that. And then the guy who owns the house on the east side, after you unlock his home, he has no unique dialogue either. And then the guy behind the Trouble Center doesn't have any new dialogue either. So I think that was a missed opportunity, especially as a reward for people who killed Gus very early. Like if you killed him, let's say in the prologue, if you killed him. And I think that it would have been a nice reward to be able to see his different dialogue in chapter 1, chapter 2, however long it took people to kill Gus. It would have been cool to get that reward, to get that unique dialogue that other people wouldn't have seen. So I'm going to put him in the D category. Ishmael, I think that he has adaptive dialogue every chapter because he'll react to like Don Pianta getting sick. Of course, he'll react to like you needing access to Don Pianta. And then I want to say in the beginning, he's like, hey, how'd you get back here? But otherwise, he's not very impactful for me, but he does have that adaptive dialogue part of it, which I think he deserves a C for. Don Pianta, you could argue that he's a black man, but I don't think that he is. I feel like he's going to be like maybe some Caribbean, like some type of islander type of man, just because of Super Mario Sunshine and Delfino Plaza, because you know his people hail from there. I think that whole storyline is super cute, and because of that, I'm going to put him in a B, Frankie. He always calls Francesca like some really cute food-related pet name or something. I find it interesting because I don't remember which NPC you talk to, but they would say that Frankie is actually like really harsh. They were afraid for him to lead, but we never saw that. I think he deserves to be in a B alongside his father-in-law. Francesca, boy, when she was like, tell me you love me 100 times. Crazy. You know, she puts me in the same exact feeling as Frankie and Don Pianta do. Very heartfelt side quests. Really cute. I'm going to put them in B. Like, they react to the events happening, you know, and they're cute, but they don't really put that much of an impact on me, so I'm going to put him in a C. Luigi. Does this even need to be discussed? He is probably best boy in the series. And I love the fact that he capitalized on his adventure by selling books. That was so funny. Like, Super Luigi 1, I was like, Super Luigi is out. He made 5 books about his adventure. Like, all the dialogue in the game with Luigi is just super funny. So he deserves an S. Bam. The lucky lottery of a bomb. He just says the same thing over and over. I still haven't won the lottery to this day, and at this point, I don't care. I might just look it up on YouTube and see what you get. All he does is repeat the same dialogue. He doesn't really add anything of value to you other than giving you the access to the lucky lottery board. But he is like Ghost Heat in that he can kill Mario. So that bumps him up. Otherwise, I probably would have put him in the D category. So he's going to be in B. Lala is the one with the pointy ears, and then her sister is the one with the bunny ones. So Lala, I think is really cool when you get the high scores and you can talk to her about like her life and her side stuff. She's the only character that opens up about that. And of course, she gives you access to the Pianta parlor. I think that she deserves a B. She has a pretty cute impact on me. Like, she's a little more than just a base level NPC, but she's not anything too crazy or anything that was like really impactful for me. Next, we have her sister. She doesn't really have anything interesting, I feel like, to me. She's just one of those NPCs that just repeats everything over and over. So I'm going to put her in D. Homeboy, Lumpy. In comparison to a normal NPC, it's like, he isn't that interesting initially. His real interest comes in when he returns with those logs talking about his story. The fact that he lost all his coins in the beginning, he was going through the desert, dehydrated, thinking he was going to die, and then bam, he strikes oil. And because of that, he definitely deserves to be ranked high. I think that the OG game, his money was a lot more impactful because we were struggling to get by. But in this game, money is no issue. So I'm going to put him in the A category. He's really cool. And his log of his adventure, like very similar to Luigi's, that's actually really cool. You know, I do not like Podley. He left his ex-girl Eve as a baby mama with 3 kids. Left her a letter. He was like, I'm gone. All right. Let's follow up on that. Years later, Barbari's dying wife is like, hey, can you give my husband a letter? Can you give him a letter? And Podley just holds on to it and doesn't give it to her. Doesn't give it to Bobbery. That's absolutely insane. Because he had the audacity to leave a letter behind for his wife, but they can't do the same for somebody else. And she died. Like, Scarlet died. He was well written in the fact that they made me absolutely hate him, but I don't like him at all. And so I'm going to put him in the F because, boy, what? Nah, I don't like him. Now, you could argue that the fact that he was well written and actually elicited something in me would make him rank higher. But the fact that I just hate him personally and I don't think he deserves to be in like the B or the A category, I'm going to put him in F. Because, boy, no. This is just one of those generic toads. The reason why she's different from this toad guy is because he had his brother. I'm going to put her in F. I don't think that she really does anything for me in the story. This is the bad shop guy. He doesn't really give you anything of note. I'm going to put him in F2. Bandits. So, there's a couple of bandits, right? You've got the one that stole half of Mario's coins in the beginning. You've got the one in the back of Rogueport who is always doing that credit card scam. He even has the side quest for the credit card scam. These bandits, like, there's a few of them, and they have a couple of different things to say every time. Not anything too insane for me, but it's something. It's something. I think that they're a little better than, like, talking to Gus, and so I'm going to give him a C. These Dugans are wild. So there's several Dugans in the game. There's the wild ones in Glitz Pit. There's the one in the back who's always gambling, but then finally wins at the end. There's the one on the west side, which I don't think that they were remarkable. They were just like a Dugan on the west side. And then there's the Dugan in Rogueport who is always talking about like lazily working or wanting to find a way into some easy work. Oh, and there's also the Dugan on the east side who wants to start a business. So I feel like with the Dugans, there's definitely some interesting ones. They have some interesting like side stories going on. So I'm going to put them in the C category. The Goombas with the green hats. I actually really like these guys. You got the guy that's always getting scammed. You got the guy that gives you stylish tips, And then you also have the Goombas that hit on Goombella. And for me, I think that they have some of the funniest dialogue for sure. I'm going to put them in B. Goombella, my girl. She is the character that talks the most in the game, or can, because firstly, you tattle the enemy, so she gives you, paragraphs about that. And then in every single frame of every area, she always has something new to say. The only time she doesn't is when you're in the pit, and then she only has something to say, like, when you get in different, difficulties. I don't know the floors myself, but I know in the beginning she has something to say. And then when you kind of get in that midpoint, she has something to say. And then towards the end, she has something to say. And then, of course, she has something to say on the floor. On the Excess Express, it might not be different. There's still, like, other rooms that are different there. Battle-wise, she is super helpful. Rally Wink. I only used it once in my playthrough, to be honest. I think I used it in the Wacka battle. But otherwise, she's solid. If Goobella's not in the S category, like, homie right here, I don't remember his name, but I really appreciated him because he's the one that gives you all the secrets about Rogueport. I think that this is a really fire character, and the absence of this character, I think, wouldn't have made me completely understand the story and wouldn't have made me feel all the way immersed because there's things that you would have never known. Let's put an S for sure. Like I said, the names elude me. I believe that this is Merlin. Shazubi. That's about it. They have the opportunity to upgrade your party members, which is very, very useful. So you got to give them some points for that. But otherwise, there's not much there. Their design is very unique, and I don't know what they look like underneath there. They might be Shy Guys, and you never know. B, because he allows you to upgrade your party members. So you have to give him props for that. They can be helpful. Don't get me wrong. Like, that thing can be helpful, but I didn't use it at all in my playthrough. I'm not going to lie to you. When I was younger and when I was struggling, I would use them. Like, when I was in the Palace of Shadow, I was struggling. I would go back. I would get the buff. But I'm not going to deny their usability. I think that they are very helpful in that case. So I'm going to put them in B. Nothing too crazy there. This is Merlovely, right? Very helpful if you want to, 100% the game without a guide. So I'm going to put her in B. Looks like we're getting a lot of characters in B. And we're going to have to go down again. Let's zoom out. Oh my God, how much do we have left? Oh, Lord. Well, look, we're going to get through them. You got homie that sells the star pieces. Not sells the star pieces. Sells the badges for star pieces. That ability to be able to get the Power Plus badge. Because I 100% bought a Power Plus badge from him fairly early. So B. I'm not gonna lie, I had to look up this next guy because I totally forgot who he was because I never used him in my most recent playthrough. So this is the guy that can edit your stats. I know that back in the day, a lot of people would have him to decrease your health by 5 so you could permanently be in danger mode and then you could just do like a Paper Mario one or whatever. I think that that's really cool. But once again, it's one of those instances of they're very like usable, like the usability is very high, but they don't really have an impact on you other than that. So I think that they deserve to be in a B tier. Because once again, you have to acknowledge their usability. So now, isn't this guy Willie? His dialogue, I feel like, is actually really cool because he'll give you, a different tip each time. I didn't maximize out his tips when I recently played, but he gave you some pretty cool information. And I think that it was really fun. Definitely really fun to keep coming back and hear what he has to say. And his design is really interesting. I feel like he's one of the other humans in the series. I'm gonna put him in A. I haven't messed with A in a while, but he gives you a lot of dialogue and it's actually really interesting stuff. This is the bartender there. I'm gonna put him in F. Blooper. He made a short appearance. He's only one of the two of the organisms like that in the series. I'm gonna put him in D. Koopy Koo. I think that she's really cute because as you continue to adventure, she has her whole altercation with Koops in the beginning, which was really abusive and toxic. Let's not ignore that. But Koopy Koo, as you adventure in the game, she'll be like, Koops, you look a little more toned now. You're going to grow out that shell. I was like, girl, calm down. She was a little scandalous. I think that they could have gave her a little more adaptive dialogue between the chapters because it wasn't really like that strong. And her design is really cute. Her being Koops' girlfriend brings her up, so I'm going to give her a B. I love Koops. I love him as a party member. I was mad that he kind of wanted to be kissed up by Miss Mouse. He seemed like he was jealous of Mario, and I was like, you have a girlfriend back at Petalburg. What are you caring that Mario's getting kissed for? So that annoyed me a little bit, but otherwise you have to admit that Koops is solid. And I'm sure that he has on a Tar Heel jacket because I was a Tar Heel in college. So I'm sure he has on that, some jorts, and some Timberlands. So you already know that his fit is fresh. I'm going to put him in the A tier. I love his shell shield. I use that in so many battles. I used it in my Prince Mush battle. That's what really kept me alive. And then I used him in the Wacka battle, but I didn't really need it, to be honest. So yeah, Mayor Croup, his dialogue changes a little bit over time. It's kind of like the same process with Koopy Koo. Like it's nothing too crazy there. And he puts you on a side quest, I believe. So, and his design is cute. I'm gonna put him in B. I think he's like fairly average. So Koops' dad, that was so impactful for me. But it wasn't really because of the dad. Like anything that the dad did, he was very remarkable afterwards. Koops went on his journey. He comes back, and the dad just says the same thing about Koops. He's in the Koopy Koo era, and I think it's because he's his dad that I'm gonna put him in the B. But otherwise, yeah. I'm gonna say that this is the hot dog one. I don't really remember any dialogue from them. I think that that's how insignificant that they were, and you can get the dry bouquet from them. But when I was 100%ing the game and I did all the recipes, I think I only used the dry bouquet once because there were other ways for me to do recipes where I didn't require the dry bouquet. I'm going to put them in D. Dupree. Flirting with the characters has always been super funny, and having an argument with that Twilighter. I don't know if he appeared in chapter 6 or in chapter 5. I'll put him in B. I'm assuming that this represents the whole Traveling Sisters 3. They're funny. Like, their dialogue changes every chapter. You see them every chapter. Even post-game, you see them just relaxing at Killhall Key. So I don't know if they just decided to move there. Like, they were like, this is the spot. Or if they're just on a permanent vacation or whatever. But it's really cool. Otherwise, I'm not really impacted by them. I'm not going to lie. And their dialogue, to me, I think, wasn't really anything that remarkable. It's not like they said anything that was that cool. I think that they should be in the C category, but it's cool that they pop up post-game. Golden Fuzzy. I'm actually surprised to see that up here. All they said was, New York, we're going to suck your souls, or something like that. And that was it. And then they just get waxed by you. So I'll put them in D. Hooktail. Hilarious dialogue during the battle, telling you that people are gonna pay, like people pay to smell the bottoms of their feet, or trying to use every trick in the book to just get you to lose. And they ate the crowd. Like you had Shadow Queen who just pulled the crowd down into the depths of the abyss, which was really cool, not gonna lie. But they ate the crowd. And I think that was a really good way to introduce you to the mechanics of the game and what attacks you can expect from people. And their storyline, like eating Coops' father, was pretty cool too. I'm gonna put Hooktail in A. You know, Punia was cool, but the downside to this is they had their cute, heartfelt moment with Petuni, right? And you would think that them being introduced so early, you going back and forth to the tree every chapter would have Punio say something different. He says the same thing every time. The only time his dialogue changes is in postgame, and I was kind of upset about that. So I'm going to put him in B. Petuni, you get the mystic eggs from her, which is cool. Like, I would think I could ask her, which person does Luigi like the most? And she would be like, Mario! But she doesn't even know. I'm like, girl, all you know is that I like Princess Peach. I mean, like, she's a child, but like, you could have guessed who Luigi likes the most, you know? I don't know if this matters or not, but like, it got me a little bit. She was less impactful than Punio, but it was cool that she gave Punio that dried shroom and he ate it. So I'm gonna give him a B. Her a B. The Puny Elder's impact in Chapter 2 was super funny to me. And the fact that they got huge and was ready to square up with Bowser and protect the Great Tree was absolutely hilarious. So you have to give her props for that. And you know, she was able to call back the Puny to you if you lost them. I really liked it. And I have to give her props for being able to square up to Bowser, like I said. I think that puts her in the A category. Because she wasn't playing no game. She was like, look, you came into my tree. She got huge. She was like, we're going to fight. We're going to fight. Another plus size queen. Here's the thing about Flurry, right? Of course, she had her strong opening when she was like, oh my God, my necklace. And you know that she's a drama queen. I think that she is probably the partner that I have out the least when I'm walking around, like her and Miss Mouse, because I just think that their reactions to dialogue and stuff are just really weak. Now, when I was rushing through the Pit of 100 Trials to try to get the Waka, I was using Flurry to just go for some enemies out because I was like, I don't feel like using it. Dodgy Fog? Why did they even give her that move? I'm just leave it alone. I just think that her dialogue is really lacking. I think that is worse than Miss Mouse's dialogue. I just think that she just completely fell flat throughout the series, and it's probably the partner that is just the least fun to have out. So she's going in C. I mean, I guess it's a plus size king, but like, he was hating on Punio the whole time, but then didn't want to do nothing to try to contribute. Once again, the adaptive dialogue is struggling with the Punies in general. I don't really think his presence was needed. Like, we didn't really need somebody to rival Punio just because he didn't really keep the same energy. Like, he was there for like a couple of minutes in the game, and then that was it. Like, we really didn't get anything else from him. I don't think that he really impacted me that much. I'm going to put him in D. This baby Jabby, I mean, it was cute that they gave us a mushroom when you like find them or whatever, but like, that's it. They didn't impact me at all, really. I'm going to put them in F. This can either be the mover. Wait, hold on. That's not the baby Jabby. Hold on. Rewind. This is the baby Jabby. I'm going to put the baby Jabby in F. This is the guy that owns the Great Tree Shop. He's in the category of same dialogue each time, nothing really different. That's just the category. So they also go in F. This can either be the mover or this can be the guy that's in the Great Tree Shop. The mover is goated. Guy in the Great Tree Shop deserves an F. So I'm going to put them in C. The X-Nauts that we encounter, you know, you can talk to a couple as Peach when you are transformed into an X-Naut, and they have that like dude vibe going on when they talk to Grotus. But otherwise, I don't think that they really gave me that much of an impact. They're just there and they add a little bit to the plot, but it doesn't add that much. So yeah. Bam. He's just like a shopkeeper, you know. If anything, he's worse than the shopkeepers. F. This is Lakisu Homie who's on the Glitz Pit and has those terrible dad jokes. The fact that I remember that he gives those dad jokes and impacted me a little bit, I guess. But then again, I pretty much remember everybody. Personally, I didn't really find him funny. I was just like, oh, okay, whatever. D. My boy Grubba, who is now dead, I hope. I don't think he got no redemption arc or anything. I think that man just died. He was sucking the power out of Prince Mush, and then he was orchestrating for Bandy Andy to get got, for King K to get got. So he was definitely an op. But for him to be the main antagonist of Chapter 3, I definitely think that he was a strong one. And he could turn into Macho Grubba, and his battle was kind of okay. Not gonna lie, I don't think that he was a bad character by any means. He's going in B. Jolene. Whew, Jolene. I think that she is so fine when you go in the little bar shop and then you see her like in her black dress and her heels and her lipstick. Like, she be killing it. She saw a strong person in Mario and was like, I need to be able to save my brother. This is the person that can do it. I highly respect her for that, and she is so cool. She essentially risked her life because she knew what Grubba was on. And she knew that if she got caught by this, she would end up erased like the rest of those fighters. I'm gonna put her in A. She really impacted me, for sure. I love Prince Mush because for a Toad to be the strongest character in the game, like, he was definitely the hardest battle that I had. I love that he switched the formations. Like, I just love the design that they gave for him. And that was probably the funnest boss battle in this whole game. And I'm a little biased on the fact that we're able to battle him and the fact that he's such a good sport about it too. I'm gonna put him in A. Oh wait, if this is Yoshi, who in the world is that? Do we interact with other Yoshis in the game? Am I missing something right now? But comment down below if I'm missing something, because I thought that this Yoshi was going to be this Yoshi. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. I'm going to put our Yoshi up here in the S. I don't know who this man is. Rock Hawk. His character is definitely unique because he is the only character that's able to like manipulate the top of the stage and then do some crazy stuff. I like to call him Big Bird because he looks like he came right out of Sesame Street. I'm going to put him in the C category. I don't like this guy. I don't like these two. Like, I feel the same way about both of these because they didn't want to give any coverage on me. They didn't care about me at all as a new fighter. But then as soon as I blew up, everybody and their mama wanted a piece. No, keep the same energy. You didn't care about me when I joined. All right. And I don't like your hair either. I'm going to put him in an F. Feel the same way about Cameraman. None of them really had anything interesting. None of them had like a side story. None of them had like anything in relation to Grubba. It's not like they were disappearing. I'm going to put him in F. I absolutely loved King K. Just a really cool guy all around. Of course, none of the Glitz Pit guys have adaptive dialogue, but I mean, it's fine. I think that his presence in his chapter was very strong, and I really liked him. I'm going to give him an A. Bandy Andy. I kind of wish that we had a little more bandit fights. I think that it would have been cool to meet some of the badge bandits just on the field instead of just in the pit. The reason why I think he's going to rank so highly is because he had those 7 mysteries of the Glitz Pit, which was really cool to find out by talking to him. But if you were like never exploring or like went out or didn't find him all the time, then that could have been a downfall. I'll give him a B because I don't think I got impacted by him as much as King K, but I still liked him. Nothing was too crazy about him, honestly. He's a hyper clef, like his battling, like it wasn't that bad. I mean, I'll give him a C. Like, he's not terrible, you know, but like he's not like, It was cool to see him respect you as time went on though. I don't really think that he was that helpful, to be honest, and his dialogue was kind of lacking too. I'm gonna give him a D. Boop. I'm assuming that this accounts for both of the brothers. I mean, even if you got bumped back down to the minor league, I don't think their dialogue is even that interesting. D. This homie, all he talks about is his spike. D. Vivian. You could argue that she is best girl. I feel like I said this in my party member ranking video, but once again, in battle, she's okay. Like, she's only okay. I like having her out because she's cute, and who doesn't want like a cute girl on their arm, you know, when they're traveling. Her dialogue with her sisters is what really makes her stand out. I'm going to put her in A just because her usability in battle to me isn't that crazy, but I love her. I really do love her. I believe he was also kind of like, you know, on the fence about Mario and then was able to respect him as time went on. D. Hammer Bro guy. So he is actually remarkable to me because he was talking about like his grandpappy's hammer and like the history of his family and everything. So to me, he gave a little more interesting dialogue. He's got his family's legacy behind him. So I thought that that was cool from an NPC standpoint. And like small stuff like that to me really does matter, I think. So I'm going to put him in C. The Koopinator, he was like an emo Koopa, you know? Finally, We are able to battle. D. I think the Hammer Bro story about like his family and everything was a lot more interesting to me. Hot dog homie. Like he's the whole reason why you unlock your Yoshi partner. So I have to give him props for that. But otherwise, nothing really too crazy there. Bam. The male Twilighters, I think that they have some interesting dialogue for sure. We can bring up Darkly in the back of Rogueport, who doesn't really have anything interesting to say in between chapters or anything like that. And you've got some emo Twilighters, and sometimes their dialogue is pretty funny. I think that it's worth seeing. So I'm going to put him in C. There's a couple reasons why I actually don't like this mayor as much as Mayor Croup. His dialogue doesn't really change in the chapters afterward. I mean, he puts you on a little quest. And I don't really think he impacted me the same way like Mayor Croup did, but like his Murphy and everything. So I'll put him in D. This is a shopkeep woman. She didn't really impact me that much, but it was funny that she was like, Dupree is younger and handsomer than her husband. Like she was wild. She was absolutely wild for that. So D. The only time we saw him was when he was arguing with Dupree, which was iconic and actually really hilarious. But otherwise, would it be fair to rank him higher than other characters? One of the only arguments in the game, actually, where the dialogue was just going back and forth and you had to like actually pay attention to what was being said. And because of that unique instance, I'm going to put him in C. The female Twilighters. There's Eve, of course, with her whole situation with Podley. Girl, I'm so sorry you had to go through that. There's the girl that hits on you when it's like, yeah, Mario, you're so fashionable. And then there's the girl that's like, Mario, you're just not my type. So they have like, you know, kind of funny dialogue. They're solid NPCs, so C. One of Eve's kids, they just all complain about being hungry or wanting gifts or whatever. Like, girl, I'm sorry. D. I love Bobbery, and not just because he's black. You know the whole situation with Podley. That was so powerful to me. Like, the first time I played this, I cried my eyes out so bad. That's my boy, and I'm so glad that he's back on the sea. And I use him in battle all the time. Hold Fast, not so much, because like I said, not that many enemies directly attack anyway. So there were attacks that I thought would count as direct, but they didn't. Yeah, and I don't use Bomb Squad either. I never use Bomb Squad, honestly. But I did use Bomb Blast a lot, fairly often, just to like wipe out enemies in the pit. So I'm gonna put him in S. In S. The Crows, I feel like had some of the best side conversations of any NPC. Like every time something would happen, they would always react. So you got their initial conversations, and then you got their conversations when Mario came back, and then you also got their conversations after the chapter was over. And to me, they had really funny discussions that I think would probably fly over like some kids' heads. But when I was younger, I was like, yeah, renewable energy, because I remember learning about that in school. So yeah, I'll give them an A. Their dialogue is really cool. I don't think that there's anything that interesting to me with the boos. There's that boo that gives you the quizzes, which are kind of fun, I suppose, and they give you access to that badge. D. I'm gonna put them in D. Homeboy, look, I feel bad for him. Like, all he wanted was a cracker. Dupless is gone. Just leave. Just leave, bro. F. My boy. Stole Mario's identity. Paraded around as Mario. He was literally hopping out of the background and coming into the game just to mess with Mario because he thought he was untouchable. And I feel like compared to other NPCs, he was very remarkable. Battle-wise, he was nothing too crazy, but yeah, he was a remarkable guy. So I'm gonna give him an A. I like Papatch because you would see him get in his arguments with Flavio. I don't know if this is specifically post-game or just afterwards, but he'll be like, yeah, I'm a fan of Bobbery. Once you bring out Bobbery, he'll be like, oh, I'm a Bobbery. So good to see you. Like, it'll be different. I don't think he was very remarkable, but I liked it. So I'll give him a C. I feel like he had the same impact to me as like any of those other NPCs would have to me. My Hispanic king. So dialogue-wise, he was the only person that used any Spanish in his dialogue, which is really cool. And his 3 phases in his battle made him one of the most unique boss fights because he's the only boss that actually has multiple phases other than the Shadow Queen. Like, I guess she has 2 phases. In terms of like other bosses, he was actually pretty high tier, I feel. I think he was the one that I enjoyed the most. I'm giving him an S. It was cool to see that he conquered his fear to go and find his brother on the island. I really appreciate when they have those small side stories of somebody conquering something and then you're able to see the progress. And so I'm going to give him a C. I feel like I'm gonna rank this guy a little higher. These are the Toad sailors. You have another Toad that is in his color scheme at Rogueport, like Harbor, the docks or whatever. He has different dialogue each time, like there's a new chapter. So you know how you might talk to Patch and he might just say like something slightly different. This guy right here, he would say something different every single time. So he really stands apart from the rest of the NPCs at the Rogueport Harbor. So because of that, I'm gonna give him an A. Poor Wacka. I mean, Wacka reacts differently depending on each attack you do. So, you know, for the hammer or the jump, he'll be like direct hit. For Barbie's explosion, he'll say explosion. For Koops's shell, I think he says shellacked or something like that. And his appearance in the Pit of 100 Trials, like, it was so underwhelming for me. He attacks just like the Piters in Chapter 2. But honestly, I don't think the Super Guarding was that bad. And I released a video on me fighting Wacka. So if you don't believe me, like, click the video. It's gonna be in the corner. Let's see. Homie that gave out the autograph on the Excess Express. It's cool. I wonder why they're so late in the ranking system. Nothing really interesting to be said there. I am gonna put him in a D. This guy, okay, like, he needed a blanket. F. Chef Shimi, I believe is his name. I don't think he gave you a star piece, but he gave you something back. I don't remember what it was. You could hold on to the gold pot for the rest of the game. Like, does it matter? Because I don't think he gave you a star piece or anything. I don't think his dialogue changes with each chapter or anything like that. So I'm going to put him in a D. And that's it. Oh my God. We ranked all 127 characters. How long have I been recording? Oh my God, y'all. I've been recording for 1 hour and 53 minutes. That is absolutely insane. I don't know how long this YouTube video is going to be. But yeah, like I said, y'all, I'm crazy. It's okay. I think next, I'm probably going to do all of the enemies. Or maybe I should do all the bosses and like take it like a little slower next time. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. And then I think that this list is pretty... I feel like this list is pretty sensible. You know, like it's not that bad. But anyway, see you guys next time. Bye.